coming up. Institute for Fiscal Studies warns poor execution, unrealistic targets and data inconsistencies undermine credibility of 2026 media budget review.
Government expenditure, being a key component of GDP, has a direct declining effect on GDP growth when it is restricted.
And Cybersecurity Authority sanctions Office of the Registry of Companies and Purple Line Solutions Limited over breaches of cybersecurity licensing and compliance directive. Plus, Bank of Ghana demands stronger controls as dishonored checks arise.
Banks are therefore encouraged to properly utilize approved overdraft facilities or available funds in linked accounts before returning checks unpaid.
I am Michael Obodu. Details of these and many other stories lined up for you. Do stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, has raised concerns over poor budget execution, unrealistic targets, and data inconsistencies, warning that these issues undermine the credibility of the 2026 media budget review. In its post-review analysis, the IFS said budget outruns for the first half of the year indicates that the budget is being poorly executed, with actual government spending falling significantly below planned levels.
Government had planned to spend 172.54 billion cedis, including arrears payments, during the first half of the year. However, actual expenditure fell short by 35.6 billion cedis, representing 20.6% of the budgeted amount.
Capital expenditure fell short by as much as 14.35 billion, representing 39.3% of the budgeted amount. Government expenditure, being a key component of GDP, has a direct declining effect on GDP growth when it is restricted.
Executive Director of IFS, Dr. Said Boachi, said the revenue and GDP targets contained in the 2026 mid-year budget are not realistic, raising concerns about the assumptions underpinning government's fiscal projections.
The government has kept the total revenue and grants to GDP ratio target in the mid-year budget review at 16.8%. We still maintain that this ratio is unrealistic. By maintaining the ratio, the government appears merely to be following the budgetary tradition in the country's recent history of over-projecting total revenue and grants to GDP ratio.
The IFS also identified a number of data inconsistencies in the mid-year budget review, which it said further challenged the credibility and reliability of the fiscal data presented. IFS is calling for improved budget execution, evidence-based forecasting, a clear revenue strategy for small-scale mining, and stronger data validation to restore confidence in the budget.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, the Cybersecurity Authority has fined the Office of the Registrar of Companies and Purple Line Solutions Limited a combined 360,000 cedis for cybersecurity non-compliance. The authority says the ORC failed to comply with 2 directives requiring it to engage a Tier 1 licensed cybersecurity service provider to strengthen the security of its critical information infrastructure.
The Cybersecurity Authority says the ORC engaged Purple Line Solutions Limited, which was not licensed by the authority, to provide cybersecurity services. The Registrar of Companies has therefore been fined 240,000 Ghana cedis, representing 10,000 penalty units for each of the 2 instances of non-compliance. The CSA has also fined Purple Line Solutions Limited 120,000 Ghana cedis for providing cybersecurity services without the required license. The authority says Purple Line only applied for a license on July 15 after it had already been engaged by the ORC. The CSA is warning public institutions, designated critical information infrastructure operators, and other regulated organizations to verify the licensing status and appropriate tier of service providers before awarding contracts or allowing them to begin work. It says an application for a license does not authorize a company to provide regulated cybersecurity services.
Now, the Bank of Ghana is demanding stronger controls around check payments as it raises concerns over a growing number of dishonored checks and breaches of banking rules. The central bank says banks must do more to prevent avoidable check failures and restore public confidence in the payment instrument.
Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama made the call at the post-131st MPC engagement with heads of banks in Accra, where he urged financial institutions to pay closer attention to customers' available credit arrangements before rejecting checks.
The Bank of Ghana continues to observe increased incidences of dead checks and instances of non-compliance. Banks are therefore encouraged to properly utilize approved overdraft facilities or available funds in linked accounts where permitted under existing arrangements before returning checks unpaid.
The governor says stronger internal checks coupled with better communication with customers should help curb repeated breaches and preserve confidence in check transactions.
Banks are further urged to strengthen their monitoring mechanism and intensify customer engagement and education to improve compliance, reduce repeat offenses, and promote confidence in the use of checks as a payment instrument.
And that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, speaking there. To more stories, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has dismissed reports that the government plans to hand over the Adamos Resources Limited mining concession to Chinese investors following the revocation of the company's mining lease. The ministry says the concession remains under the oversight of the Minerals Commission, which is currently responsible for operations at the mine. It says any decision on the future of the concession will be taken later through the appropriate legal and regulatory processes. The ministry has also urged the public to disregard reports of Chinese investors taking over the mine, saying government has not engaged any Chinese investor over the concession. The government has defended the lease revocation, citing alleged mining outside approved areas, regulatory breaches, and outstanding financial obligations. Let's turn our attention now to the currency and the commodities market.
Interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis, 35 pesos, and lost 39 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis, 33 pesos, and lost 53 pesos. The euro is selling at 13 cedis, 9 pesos. It also lost 46 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. The global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $88.56 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,407.27 per ounce, up by $37.16. Cocoa is trading at $5,725 per ton, up by $71.
And those were updates from the currency and the commodities market, bringing an end to the business news on Sunrise. For more stories, kindly check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.